Okay, today we are going to make a bechamel sauce, which is one of the one mother sauces considered a white sauce. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to get a small saute pan and you're going to get a small saucepan. Now, because this is a white sauce and every imperfection is shown, we're going to take our saucepan that probably was not cleaned great, and we're going to take our saute pan and we are going to start our day by getting an SOS pad, and each group will have to scrub clean their pans. Once your pans are clean, you're going to have a small saute pan and a smaller size saucepan. And as you can see, I cleaned them. There's no any black in there. There's no any debris. It only took me a couple minutes, and we're going to make sure that our pans look this good before we get started. Your mise en place is going to be 16 ounces of milk. It's going to be 1 ounce of clarified butter and 1 ounce of flour, an onion piqué, and then our classic seasonings is going to be a little bit of cayenne pepper and dried mustard. So the first thing we're going to do in our small saute pan is we're going to add a little bit of the clarified butter. And you're going to use a high heat spatula. And once that butter begins to melt, we're going to sprinkle in our 1 ounce of flour. Now, we're going to go ahead and mix this together to make our roux. And this is a white roux, so it's going to be very narrowly cooked. We're not going to cook it for very long. Once the roux is cooked, we're going to turn the heat off and we're going to set this pan aside. So then on your burner, we're going to add our clean small saucepan. You're going to turn your heat on. And we are going to add our milk. Now, we want to be careful as we're heating our milk up, as we do not want to burn it. We're then going to take our onion piqué and we're going to put it face down in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this go for about 10 or 15 minutes. Once taking careful care to make sure that once the milk starts to simmer, we turn the heat down and keep it on a very, very low simmer. All we want to do is kind of pull out some of the flavor from the piqué. After about 15 minutes with the milk simmering, we're going to go ahead and pull out the onion piqué. Make sure we got all of the components to it, and we're going to discard it. Okay, now we've got our hot milk and we have the roux that should be at room temperature now because we've been letting it sit. We're going to put the hot roux into the milk. Actually, the roux will not be hot, it'll be room temperature, and we'll be putting it in with the hot milk. As I mix the roux in, you want to make sure there's no lumps. And we're going to bring this back to a simmer. And again, be careful on the scorching of the milk. It's going to want to burn on the sides, in the corners, and on the bottom. So as it starts to heat up, we're going to turn our heat down a little bit. And this is going to take a little bit of time. So we're just going to kind of scrape it back and forth until we get the proper nappe thickness, which should happen after about 10 minutes. With the milk heating up, remember, the hotter the liquid gets, the more thickening we get from our roux. So we're going to let this go until it gets to the proper thickness. As you can see, the bechamel is slowly simmering and is starting to get to that thickness that we're talking about nappe, where the it's coating the back of our spatula. Want to make sure there's no lumps in it, and we want to make sure that the sides are scraped down. Once we get to the desired thickness, we're going to turn it all the way down so just our pilot light is keeping it warm, and we're going to sprinkle in our seasoning. We're going to stir that to give it that classic flavor profile. And we're just going to leave it there until we're ready to use. We're going to stir it up real good. So this is, you'll want to check it at this point, and you may add a little bit of salt if it tastes a little bit of flat, but the consistency is what we're looking for. And this is ready for it to go from being a mother sauce bechamel to a small sauce mornay, which we'll do in the next video.